Hey, this is Mark Henry, back to talk to you more about the occult and the paranormal. Well, today I'm going to talk a little bit about strategic approaches to love magic. Now, strategic approaches to love magic is being purposeful, being thoughtful about the way that you conduct love magic, sex magic, seduction magic, all those types of things. Because the truth is that if something happens and something goes wrong with, let's say, prosperity magic, money magic, if that happens, the worst thing that can happen is you don't get what you want. Now, with love magic and all the other types of magic that are related to love magic, if something goes wrong, there is a more of a broad spectrum of what could happen. You could get nothing happen, or something unexpected and surprising and unpleasant could happen. So this is why I'm doing this video with you today. So what are some of the issues that come up with love magic? So the first thing is be very specific about what you want. I talk about having almost like in corporations, they have like a mission statement about what their business or corporation is about. You need to have sort of a very specific goal about how you want to conduct your love magic, in the sense of, I want X to happen based on my magic. So you have to be very clear about what you want. Be as specific as you can, but if you want to be general, then at least know what you're doing. So what would that look like? Okay, so first you want to be specific enough to get what you want. Everybody has their criteria, but you don't want to be so specific that you exclude a proper pool of people that might be suitable to you. For example, let's say that you wanted to attract a mate, and you wrote, your statement was, I will to meet a billionaire who likes NASCAR, who has a dog, who has children, who loves children, and who likes to watch horror movies with me. Okay, so that's very specific. Now, if you have the qualities of being very patient to attract someone like that, then great. You could be waiting a while, and you could be in store for a very long-term magical working. You're going to need something to do continuously to even hope to attract someone with all those criteria. But hey, to each his own. Now, let's say that you wanted to cast a little bit of a wider net. You could say something like, I will to get into a relationship with an attractive male, female who meets my general values and share common interests with me. Something along those lines. And I mentioned the common interests in the sharing of basic values, because that is going to be what's the kind of the glue to keep your relationship together. The way with magic works is that if you're just trying to do a basic love magic for attraction, once that you have that person that you're seeking, now that's where the messy part of the relationships come in, where you actually have to have relationship skills, healthy ways of relating, communication, all those types of things. So you're going to need to have a little bit more on your side to keep the relationship going once that the magic attracts the person that you are interested in meeting. So the next one. Okay, so decide whether it's more useful to do a general kind of love spell, or to focus on a specific individual. The general love spell might be an intervention where you decide, okay, I'm going to do this enchantment, and I want, based on my criteria, to just attract someone to meet that. And I think that's kind of, I guess, my own personal preference as someone who has done love magic. That would be what I would do. The other approach is to actually go ahead and attract a specific person. There is this specific person, this special person that you want, and you decide to go after them. And you design your enchantment to make them fall in love or lust or all of the above in order to see you in this very pleasing light, have a relationship, and live happily ever after. That is probably one of the more dangerous types of ways of going about magic. I think it's a little bit riskier. Love magic, and as I mentioned in the beginning, is a little bit riskier, in my opinion, in general, because every person is different. They have different backgrounds. They have different ways of relating. So when things go not so good, it's kind of a little bit of a headache. When you're working on a specific person, you're running the risk of things going wrong. Like, okay, so let's say that you attract this very specific person for whatever reason, and you decide that they're not for me. I want to move on. Well, guess what? You just did magic on someone to really fall head over heels in love with you and very attracted to you, to be very tuned into you. And now you have to break up with them. Well, now you're risking the potential of getting a stalker or someone obsessed with you, following you around, because you're using magic in order to kind of get what you want. It works on you and it works on them too. So that would be one of the downsides of magic, specifically working on a specific person. Now, I have done the general love magic, and when I was a late teen, I did just doing some basic candle magic, and my magic was a little off-center. It was probably more in the sexual love side rather than the love side, of more of a balanced type of thing. And I attracted someone much older than me, who I met in an occult group. And as a result of that, because it was off balance, I attracted someone who was not in keeping with my values, someone who, we didn't share a lot of common interests. But because the magic was geared more to the physical side, I had somebody now who was pressuring me for physical stuff, overbearingly so, much more than I bargained for. And it just didn't turn out well. I mean, that's not the makings of any type of long-term relationship. So it was fiery, and then it fizzled out. And as a result of that, we left kind of with hard feelings on both sides. So live and learn as far as magic is concerned. But I've known people who have targeted specific people for their magic, and what happened was that the magic opened up the opportunity for them to come together, but it wasn't the right combination. So there has to be some wisdom involved in really understanding this person and what they're about, make sure that this is what you really want before you do the magic. As a general rule, I tend not to do that. However, I know that some people, they have their heart set on somebody, and they're willing to do that. Even to go to extreme ends. In my YouTube videos, I have a video, I think it's called The Dark Side of Love Magic, where I talk about the Tranquil Spirit, which is more in the category of hoodoo, and some voodoo practitioners practice it as an actual spirit that one can petition in order to bring a lover to them, or to cause a lover to return to them. And the way that the Tranquil Spirit works is that the person who is the target will get no peace, will get no rest unless they go to that person. to go to the person who is casting the spell. Usually it's kind of a return and reconciliation spell that's involved. They will get no peace nor rest unless they go back to the person who cast the spell. And they usually have some type of physical illness, mental health problems, all these types of things. The more that they resist the spell, the more that they try to get away from that person, the harder it is on them. So it's almost like by force, by spiritual force, that person must come to the person who is the one doing the enchantment. Very harsh stuff. Because the question is, okay, so what type of person are you attracting back to yourself? And do you really would want to be with somebody like that, who is really not meant for you, is not compatible with you? But again, I know some people have their mindset and heart set on somebody. So just be warned that there are dangers involved in this type of practice. And if you're interested, check out The Dark Side of Love Magic. All right, the next issue would be, will you be conducting a macro level or a micro level intervention, an enchantment? For example, regarding love magic, a macro enchantment would be, okay, I'm going to do a large overall spell in order to make me more attractive to the person, my suitors that have that specific criteria that I mentioned earlier. So it's going to work. So I walk around all day, the grocery store, I walk around the street. It's going to give me a little bit of a better chance of meeting someone with that criteria. So that's going to be some influence. Now the micro enchantment, the micro level intervention, is going to be for working on very specific contexts where you're more likely to meet that person. So you might do an enchantment for when you go out and you meet people. For example, speed dating, going online to dating sites, maybe going to the club. You're going to want to have an enchantment to work in those specific areas because that's where you're going to more likely to catch the fish that you want. So when you're doing magic, you should probably have a macro level intervention and then a micro level, which is the very specific context in which you are doing these things. As another example, if you were doing money magic, what you'd want to do is kind of a general spell to attract business opportunities, to attract different situations where you can make extra money. But then, you're going to maybe want to do magic that takes place if you have a job in the workplace. If you're a salesman, so you're a car salesman, you attract more people wanting to buy cars from you. Or if you have an online business at the same time you're doing the car thing, a micro level enchantment to get more customers, in your online business. So you're going to have an overall type of working, and then you're going to have a very kind of contextual oriented working to work on those types of things. All right, so those are the three big issues that come to mind. And again, I want to kind of warn you that when you're dealing with love magic and all of its cousins, you're dealing with human beings, human feelings, human thoughts, and it is much messier than doing money magic and other types of magic in my experience. So if you ever attempt to do these types of things, just keep these three issues in mind. And that's basically it. Thank you very much. Please subscribe and like, and I will see you in a future video. Thank you.